Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a delightfully unexpected essay by an author named TKN. It's a really charming piece about her husband, but what it actually does is take a super relatable situation, watching the World Cup in your living room, and turns it into this fascinating laboratory of human observation. Because while millions of us are tuning into the world's biggest sporting event for the goals, the drama, the sheer athletic prowess, TKN's husband, well, he's watching something completely different. He is literally peeling back the layers of the broadcast to find a totally hidden narrative. So let's jump right in and see exactly what he's looking for.
The whole story kicks off on a beautiful, sunny morning on June 12th. The author sets the scene by noting the sky is incredibly blue, but her husband's mood? Even brighter. The World Cup is finally starting, and what's just brilliant here is the sheer, hilariously polite intensity of his fandom. He looks right at his wife and sincerely says, "I feel bad for the countries playing Japan, but please lose. Please." It's this amazing mix of ruthless sporting ambition paired with incredibly polite Japanese manners. It perfectly sets the stage for a guy who takes this event very, very seriously, just in his own entirely unique way.
And the stakes for this household? Oh, they are high. He proudly declares that they are entering a festival of dreams that's going to last for over a whole month, and he wants to watch absolutely everything. To prove it, he triumphantly announces he's bought a full DAZN subscription just to stream the games. Now, when his wife gently reminds him about the massive online uproar over their tricky annual contract terms, he just puffs out his chest and says, "I don't care if I was tricked, I clicked it." He is totally, unapologetically committed. He's secured the rights to watch every single match, and honestly, he couldn't be prouder.
Not just about soccer, a different focus.
So, as you might expect, the author totally assumed she was in for a month of non-stop tactical analysis, right? Team formations, defensive lines, all that stuff. But instead, he leans in, lowers his voice like he's sharing some top-secret intel and says, "Actually, I have another thing I'm looking forward to." She immediately braces herself, thinking, am I actually married to a soccer fan or what? But then he drops the pivot. He reveals that his true focus isn't on the ball hitting the back of the net at all. He's not obsessing over the super saves by the goalie. Nope. He is laser-focused on what happens in the background, in the stands, in the immediate aftermath of those big plays.
Which brings us to the real question. Who exactly is he watching? Well, he actually has a highly specific target audience. He tells his wife he absolutely loves spotting the fans breaking out in frantic, joyous dancing. Then he looks for the devastated supporters just staring blankly up at the sky in total disbelief. He watches for the overwhelmed, crying children. But then he lists his absolute favorite thing to spot on the broadcast, a beautiful woman looking on nervously, biting her finger. Naturally, his wife's immediate internal reaction is, what on earth are you seriously analyzing here? It sounds a little weird at first, right? But the thing is, he is entirely earnest about it.
Section 2. Psychology in the stands. Analyzing the crowd. You see, he doesn't just stop at pointing these people out. He goes full amateur behavioral scientist. He passionately explains to his wife that biting one's fingers or nails isn't just some random nervous habit. No, it is a primitive defense mechanism. It's this instinctive physical reaction our bodies use to suppress highly elevated and overwhelming emotions. And suddenly, the author finds herself thinking, wow, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. He even dives into some cultural commentary, pointing out that while this level of outward emotional display is pretty rare to see back home in Japan, it flows incredibly naturally in cultures with richer, more outward emotional expression. So he's literally using the World Cup as a window into global human psychology.
And he doesn't just limit this to the fans either. He applies this exact same rigorous microanalysis to the players right there on the pitch. He points out the contextual differences in facial expressions. For example, there's the "oops, I messed up" tongue sticking out, that classic look of failure. And then there is the "gotcha" tongue sticking out, the look of pure, cheeky success right after outsmarting an opponent. The author notes that by this point, he sounds way less like a sports commentator and much, much more like a dedicated researcher of human microexpressions.
Section 3. The Broadcast Masterminds, the Invisible Hands. Now, his fascination scales up from the individual people in the stands to the invisible hands actually curating this whole experience. He turns to his wife, eyes totally sparkling, and drops this realization: those crowd shots are not a coincidence. He recognizes that capturing these super fleeting, highly emotional, culturally rich moments among a sea of literally tens of thousands of screaming people, that takes immense intentionality. It doesn't just happen by accident.
So he enthusiastically walks her through his grand theory of how this television magic is actually made,
breaking it down step by step. Step 1, location hunting. The crew has to be out there scouting the stands before the match even kicks off, identifying the most expressive, interesting fans in the crowd. Step 2, cameraman timing. The exact second a goal is scored or missed, that cameraman has a fraction of a heartbeat to whip their lens right to that specific fan. Step 3, switcher execution. The director up in the booth has to perfectly time the cut from the field to the stands to catch that emotional peak. And finally, Step 4, AI assistance. He theorizes that in the modern era, they absolutely must be utilizing artificial intelligence to rapidly sift through dozens of camera feeds and flag these perfect human reactions. I mean, his respect for the production staff is just absolutely massive.
Section 4. A shared perspective. Global connection.
Coming back to the dynamic in that living room, the author's own internal monologue shifts from a little bit of exasperation to genuine, deep intrigue. She basically experiences this huge breakthrough in empathy. She realizes her husband isn't ignoring the sport at all. He is just fully, deeply absorbing the global scale of the festival. He is taking in all the human emotion, the distinct cultural reactions, and the incredible broadcast technology that actually manages to connect everyone on the planet to the movements of a single ball. When you think about it, it's a remarkably beautiful way to view a sporting event.
Ultimately, the author leaves us with a major shift in her own mindset. For the next month, she decides she's actually going to actively look at the crowd herself, just to see the world through her husband's eyes. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder. The next time you sit down to watch a massive global event, are you just going to watch the ball? Or what hidden human expressions will you discover in the crowd? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep observing out there.